Hello there, this is Cookies, and today I've got turn 13 of what I've started calling skids. And we've got a message here. I also sent out a message to everyone. You can go ahead and read that. But we've got a message from Berytos. Alright, starting my fourth and presumably final fort of the expansion phase. The underground connections seem to be all over the place. I'm pretty nervous about how I move my lion around, and am unsure what it will do to overall Diplo, as it creates a lot of extra borders. The most dangerous turns are coming up. We'll see if I get through okay. And then it looks like we have one potential player combat kicking up. And then it looks like we have an indie attack. So let's go ahead and jump in. So starting out with Sauromatia, we got a Oreopoda and Lancer party, along with a couple of cataphracts to help stiffen it up. Should win this pretty easily, I think. Might lose a couple of Lancers just from heavy cav. Oh, loses an Oreopoda. I was not expecting that. Probably was an unlucky hit. Alright, let's take a look. Yeah, an attack roll of 30 and a large damage roll. So just really unlucky. Happens. Okay. Alright. So loses a few units. Not a big deal. Losing the Oreopoda is a little disappointing, but sometimes heavy infantry get lucky. Alright, let's look at Fomoria. We've got a mixed company of giants and elves again. I think he should do fine. He might lose a couple of the elves just from sheer volume. But I think he'll be alright. The elves, so what he's doing here is he's got size 6 elves sharing a square with size 3 elves, or size 6 giants. I don't know what I said before. Sharing a square with size 3 elves. And so that's creating more attack density, and then the mirror images can also help deflect additional attacks from the giants. So pretty nice. Additionally, he's got blur, which also helps a little bit with keeping defense up. So it provides more longevity both for the elves and for the giants. So pretty cool. It's going even a little bit better than I thought so far. He hasn't lost too many mirror images to the archery. The chasing is a little concerning, but a few of the troops are staying on the main mission. There we go. Almost got a route? Yeah. Alright, so he should be fine now. Very nice. Well done. No losses. Berytos going into Searing Sands. I believe this is Barbs. Yep. So we've got some Baraton elite soldiers. Now, going toe-to-toe with Barbs without missile weapons, probably not recommended, but I'm assuming this is just what he had in the neighborhood. Although recruiting even a few indie archers somewhere, I think, would go a long ways for this. Could lose. Yeah. So barbarians, 12 attack, do a lot of damage, and still have a little bit of protection. Whereas, no, I know it's reduced, so, but 11 attack, which is pretty good, but 15 damage is less. So they'll generally have to hit the barbarians Probably 2 to 3 times. But the barbarians, when they hit an elite soldier, oftentimes I think have a great chance to one-shot. So it's just a difficult matchup. So loses 22, kills 9. In Glowing Caverns, we see Marverni dipping their toes underground. They've got, how are they blessed already? Anyways, we've got boar warriors. They've got chakras, fate waving, invulnerability. Oh, that's because the Trinity has also showed up. Now, if this party bumped the lion, they do have enchanted spears. I think this would wreck the lion. So Berytos needs to be pretty careful expanding down here, but I think they're in different parts of the cave for the moment. Another consideration down here is the reduced attack skill, but it's partially made up for with, at least for the Sacreds, by being Berserk, but also just by being somewhat skilled with some experience stars. They'll do okay with 10 attack skill because the Long Dead only have 9 defense. So should clear this pretty easily, especially with the banishment. Alright. So yeah, loses 2 warriors. Not too bad. In Snake Swamps, we have part 2 of our attempted quadruple expand from Berytos. Shocking that there's this many indies still left near them. They find a large number of militia and archers. This should go a lot better. Although these light infantry are really fighting to the death. But yeah, this should go fine. There we go. Loses 4. In the below, we've got the lion. Found some pale ones. This should be super trivial. All right. In Ashlands, we have potentially some player conflict. We've got a party of Enkidu Spear Guard going after what looks like a reasonable amount of PD. Now, I'm not sure if they bought this province, but it could very easily also just be the start of an invasion. All right. Clears that out. I don't think he lost anyone. Yep. Ulm attacks into Weirth. We've got another party of Steel Maidens with a few Axe Warriors mixed in. Going up against some Lion Tribe. Not a great matchup for the Steel Maidens. They don't have a shield. And I believe there is a shielded variant, but they're going to take some extra attrition here. Alright. Yeah, they lose 5. In Northia, we've got Sauromatia. Large number of Oreopata, because they've got to push through all these lance charges. Getting a lot of archery here. Definitely going to lose some mounts. The question is how many. Might lose this fight. I've never seen Horse Tribe this determined to stick it out. Normally they route. I mean, they've got decent morale, but it's just been my experience that their squads tend to route. Okay, and they do end up routing. It was close, though. Loses 5 to 6 Oreopata and 1 Cataphract. It's a pretty hefty loss. That could be close to 1 turn of cap recruitment. But it is a lot of horse tribe. I guess something that could have helped was maybe just a few shielded troops running up to draw the archery, and then maybe doing an attack rear command, or kind of positioning on the flanks so they attack down the line of horse tribe. I tend to like that. The distraction can eat a lot of arrows, and then you tend to get a more even contact with better attack density for yourself if you attack one of the sides of the horse tribe. All right, and in Embracer, we have some very ambitious Atlantean militia going up against some Tritons. I think the Tritons will win, just because I really have no respect for Atlantean militia. Yeah. All right. They continue to fail to earn my respect. Dying in mass to one of the worst units in the game. All right. In Old Man Mountains, we've got Ulm expanding. I like mixing in some barbs here. We've got some barbs, some slingers, just as False God would put it, an army of garbage. Unfortunately, it's the attack's disjointed. Some of it was undisciplined, some of it was disciplined. So the undisciplined group is already routed. It was close. Very close. But does pull it out, probably due to superior morale for the disciplined troops. You can see 15 morale here. What's the attrition like there? Yeah, loses 16. Pretty high attrition, but does take the province, and that's what counts. And we've got Mekone. They bought the wet ones. And this underwater expansion, I think, will go a lot better, but we'll see. These Tritons do have shields, but wet ones hit reasonably hard, so I think they'll be fine. They've got numbers in the flank. As long as their morale holds, it is 10 morale against 12. Leadership should be dead. Oh, good grief. So the captain is going to win it, but yeah, that was closer than I thought it would be. I know what ones are pretty bad, but I didn't think they were quite that bad. All right, so that was here. So technically loses the whole party. Don't know what he paid for him, but they did take out the turtle tribe. And then in the bulwark, I've been informed that more of the Bless has woken up. So we'll take a look at this. So, and we can see now slowing weapons has been added. This is a very powerful addition. So, and the way this is, in my opinion, going to work is if the slowing weapons procs, then you're going to reduce the number of attacks from an enemy unit. And if you apply poison weapons to that enemy unit, it's going to reduce the quality of those attacks. So you get a synergistic effect where they're attacking less and with less quality. And on your end, on the defensive side, you've got Blur, making yourself more defensive. And you've also got Glamour, so you have the mirror images from that effect, which are also going to help make you more defensive. So I expect these Hellhardings to be very killy, especially against large single targets, and also very survivable, unless there's a lot of attack density. This is an especially large party against a lot of barbarians. I think they might get through it without losing any, though. We'll see. This one's close. Left alone on the edge and still survived. Yeah, I don't think he lost any. Wait, that's the wrong group. Okay, so maybe lost one. And this was over 100 barbarians. These Hellhardings are going to be an absolute menace. We've also got another Fomorian expansion against this very easy Hoburg province. I'm not expecting any difficulties here. Yeah, just has to clean up some trees. Alright. And then we've got Tianchi in Winden. It looks like a very strategic province. And looks like a throne. Alright. We've got... Here, I'll pull it up on this screen. It's a little bit easier to see. So we have 3, 4, 5 sages and a lore master, along with a few other commanders. The sages are all Astral 1 with some pearls. One has an armor. And the lore master is S3 Water 2 and 1 with some gems. What I would love to see the AI do, it doesn't even have to be all the time, but occasionally, make a communion. Have this guy cast a couple of battlefield wides and make this throne actually threatening. Because when I look at all this, this is basically an extra large indie province. And spamming out some body ethereal isn't going to change that. So let's see, we've got... Oh, some mind burn. Let's go ahead and... I think it's a fair amount of mind burn, so I think what they did... Yeah. I think they're using their gems to cast it. Alright. But they're out of gems now, so it's only going to be this Finfag guy. Meanwhile, we have a regenerating body ethereal astral shield cat. I don't think the ND troops are going to have anything to say about that. Kind of weird though, I'm not seeing the regen proc. Must have extra HP, so he hasn't even fallen below the threshold to regen yet. Alright. Alright, Kitty found a lot of Meow Mix there. Let's see. Loses the 3 footmen that were there to just prevent random garbage from interrupting the buff cycle. But it does take the throne. Let's go ahead and see what throne this is. this is the Throne of the Artificer, which gives a construction discount with the Steel Ovens that also gives a construction discount. On one of the most strategic provinces of the map, it has 9 connections, a resource bonus, and is going to be pretty game-changing for TNC. They're going to want to fort this immediately. You've got a mine of superior iron right next door. Seen what if their site searching has found much, but or if they've got forts under construction. But yeah, this is going to be a crazy province. Now, I will say, it looks like Ur's invading, or thinking about invading TNC. However, what I've heard is Ulm is planning to invade Ur. So, and if Ur moves to Wick, then Ulm's going to feel like they can invade Wick too. This could be very interesting. It doesn't make sense for a 2v1. But there are a lot of troops on the border. This is probably not enough stuff to do an effective invasion of Ur. Ur has a lot of foreign recruit troops. So if we look at the army graph, and we pick out TNC, and I need to put Ulm back. Here we go. So we can see Ur has, by virtue of foreign rec, has the largest military. Now Ulm also has a lot of foreign rec, but Ulm's had more troubles in expansion. And another piece of it is Ur's troops are larger, so they're going to look larger on this graph. But even if, you know, Ulm makes up half of that gap in terms of size points, it's still their human troops trying to kill much larger opponents. So I am curious how this matchup will work. I think blocks of Ur troops with the Musushus filtering through is going to murder this Vedi mercenary company that got hired. I think it's going to do very well against slingers, archers, and steel maidens. So the theory here from Ulm is he's going to take advantage of all the Ur troops not having hats. But they still have shields. I don't think he's bringing enough troops to even win the duel with the higher HP longbows. That's just what my instinct is telling me, though. I'm not even sure if the initial battle will go well, especially if this group moves here rather than here. I think even an attack here could go poorly for these Vedi. And if this troop goes here, I think it could succeed. But this group from the capital, I think, would beat it if it moved down here to guard the border. And if both those forces died, Ur could very quickly just walk onto Ulm and kind of checkmate it, because the largest, or I guess, in my opinion, the most effective Ulmish parties are over here. This one can show up to a cap defense, but then we can see several Ur parties combine on a cap attack. And even worse for Ulm, the double swamps in their cap circle would allow Ur to recruit their most effective foreign rec units, which are these bone troops. So probably Enkidu Reavers. So Berserker 3, so they do 25 damage. They move up to 10 protection. Still don't have hats, but I mean, they'll kill everything they hit. And they've got a decent attack score. And then you've also got these Enkidu Hunters. Also, you know, a little less Berserker, only Berserker 1, but with a very powerful Javelin. And he could be recruiting these right next door to Ulm's cap. I think it would be very tough. Ulm would get, I believe they get foreign rec in mountains and forests. Let me see. Highlands, mountains, and forests. Okay. So they can get foreign rec here, here, here. So there's a trio of provinces up here that can foreign rec a bit. And here. But all of their, aside from this province, they don't have foreign rec in their cap circle. I'm very concerned for Ulm right now. Now they did pick up a great gold mine. That'll be a huge boon. I'm a little worried if both these parties combine here and try to take on these elephants and take high attrition. I think both these parties will be needed versus if he does attack like he says he's going to. Is bigger than he is right now. Yeah, somewhat substantially. Has more income. A little bit more gym income. Better research. Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough matchup. I think what Ulm wants really is a coalition. Probably on Berytos with someone like Marverni or Hinnom, where they can expand and maybe get a swath of territory. Although that would be a little nerve-wracking too, getting a bigger Hinnom border. It would make you a very appealing target. Now, Ulm also has some additional options. They could try to talk with Mekone about attacking together. I'm sure Mekone would want maybe some of this territory, and Ulm would want some of it, and then they could figure out who wants the cap later. I think that would create a pretty stable border, and so I think that would make a good make for a good coalition. If you had some sort of border like this and like this, like yes, it's somewhat long, or even like this, and then maybe Mekone gets more as the bigger partner. I think it certainly could be stable. Now, Mekone might opt to keep going, but I think that would make Mekone very long. They probably don't want to be this long. So I think long term it would be a pretty stable border. And then Mekone would probably pivot. They might just scale for a little, but they could certainly pivot, maybe into a war with Hinnom or something, trying to get a little more favorable borders around Dragon Scale Mountains. All right. Let's see, did we finish all of these? I don't think so. We've got Sitha, which is a ping on what looks like a throne. Oh, whoops. So we've got 3 Dreamwood enchanters and some boots for looting. Nature 2 into Nature 2 or Nature 2 G2 into G1 and into G1. I don't think it's particularly scary. They might Group Bark Skin especially is not scary. If they were to do some swarm casts, that could get a little spooky. But I don't think they'll do that. We'll see. And then World Pillar, we've got Lanka attacking. Palankasha's into Heavy Cav. I think he ought to do fine. Again, he's got Quickness and Awe and Blood Surge. He might take a lucky lance hit and lose 1. But I think this party should be fine. Cool. I don't think he lost any. Oh, he did lose 1. Well, shit. What killed it? Was it a lance hit? Or was it friendly fire? Nope, enemy fire. Got hit by 2 short bows. A little unlucky on the protection rolls versus the damage. Yeah, that's somewhat unlucky. Alright, and then we've got Bogus. Good old Bogus. Bogus and his party should be able to kill whatever they land on at this stage in the game, unless it's a pretender. Like, they'd probably lose to TNG's cat. But you can see all the gear on them. They have a tremendous amount of loot. So them attacking you, while it can be bad, it can also be an opportunity. We got 35 gems. 35 gems. 20 gems. 15 gems. And 45 gems. So a tremendous amount of gear. Some of it pretty high level gear. A lot of it's very nice gear. Rune Smashers, Rainbow Armor, Race Swords, the Greenstone Precious, Ice Pebble Staff, Boots of Quickness. Even a True Shot can be pretty useful. Faithful gives luck, which is nice. Horror Helmet is very good for routing, PD and indies, or even smaller player squads. You got Storm Armor, which is very high protection. And you have Cat Charm, which is an excellent defensive item that you don't see too often due to its nature cost, but is very good. I don't think anyone's ever accused that item of being just outright bad. So yeah, whole bunch of gear on some pretty spooky chassis. So this Dark Knight has 15 fear. More than once I have killed the Dark Knight, and right after he died, my whole army routed because of the fear 15 effect. We've got a Troll Archer, just a high hit point archer. He's not too concerning. You've got this Troll Mage, Glamour 3. Not a huge deal. He doesn't have any gems, so not a big concern. You can probably spam out a few illusions. Bogus is actually somewhat scary. 16 attack for a 44 damage Race Sword with 24 protection on 83 hit points with Berserker 5. So once you wound him, he goes up to 21 attack and 49 damage. So Bogus is definitely scary, especially if you're trying to... I don't think you should SC this group because you're trying to loot it. You should bring a small army with as many commanders and scouts as you can find. But it's certainly a thing. And then you've got Creon, the warrior mage, who has some great pin boosting items and then some nice reinvigoration gear. So all in all, pretty interesting group. Let's go ahead and see where they landed. They landed in the border region between Sauromatia and Mekone. That it looks like those two negotiated. It killed the growing turtle tribe party. So he was getting these turtle tribe to run down here and try and get these tritons. The two sides are probably racing to get this province. So I think the Atlantean militia was trying to get it early and hoping it would work. Probably because they could see the turtle tribe building up, and the turtle tribes are a higher quality troop. But now Bogus has saved them. So it might take a decent chunk of this army walking over here, clearing this, and they'll have to start recruiting again. So it could be 5, 6, 7 turns before our party is ready to take these tritons. That should give Sauromatia enough time to try again on Embracer. So it could affect 80 income for them, along with just the income of losing the swamp. Alright. Yeah, what a huge pickup if TNG can hold on to this. Which I think they should be able to. We'll see. They have a large army here. I imagine some of it and some mages will be rotating down here pretty quick. And maybe we'll get a message from TNG next turn. He borders 3 thrones. I think all of them are good, especially for this TNG, who's rolling with Death 1. If he were to get the Throne of Gaia as well, I think he would be in a very strong position. Oh, he borders a 4th throne over here. Misfortune 1, when you're rolling Misfortune 2, probably isn't great. So yeah, we'll see. This one wouldn't be bad, but it's a little bit disconnected. I think if he could get these two, these would be very strong pickups. Then Helheim will probably... They've got luck too. I don't think they'll be happy picking up Misfortune. But they might not care. And getting some slave income could be strong for breaking into Blood. To bring Blood Rain with the Wailing Winds, Winds of Death stuff that Helheim can do. So it might be a delayed claim, but we'll have to see. Because luck 2 is also very nice. Okay. Well, we've had a little bit of drama shaping up. I'm looking forward to seeing what people decide for their first wars. There are a few endies left on the map. Most of them are lakes. But we do have a batch of endies from this weird little strip of endies that we had. So Sauromatia is cleaning up a bunch of this. If Sauromatia takes Star Peaks, which I don't think they will, they might try, but I think they're going to bump these Palankashas. And then Lanka's going to discover some more land down here. This looks very aggressive, though. We'll see if Hinnom ends up attacking Lanka a little bit. But, I mean, Lanka and Sauromatia are definitely going to be racing a bit to see who gets all of this. Because I haven't seen Marverni move over that way yet. You have a very inconvenient well of pestilence here. But Marverni did build a fort here. Oh, and they went Death 3, Misfortune 3. Crazy scales. Okay. And there's a few more endies down here. So Marverni's still got some room for expansion, Sauromatia and Lanka. But generally speaking, I think we've finally killed off most of the endies. There might be a short breather while people look at thrones potentially, or their first war matchups, and then hopefully we get some nice action. anyways, I think that's it for this turn. So I'll go ahead and see you in turn 14. Have a good one. Bye.